Good evening, Final Fantasy 1 Randomizer fans! I am your host, Kyu Ketsuki, and I am excited to be here! This is a great night to watch some great race between Elastoid and TristalMTG. As we are getting started very soon, we have your Forced Thief, your banned White Mage, and we have your standard incentives on location tonight. We have your Marsh Cave, we have your Ice Cave, and we have your Castle Ordeals. Everything else is going to be quest NPCs, and we'll probably have 2 loose items. That is going to be the big hunt tonight, with it looks like a fairly standard party from both of our runners tonight. Elastoid running a Thief, a Fighter, and a double Red Mage, and Tristal running a Thief, a Fighter, a Red Mage, and a Black Mage. Those are the 2 meta classes that I said are probably going to be very common during this week. I'm joined by former champion Edgeworth. How are you doing today, Edgeworth?
Doing pretty well. This has been a fun round to do practices in so far, and interesting to see the difference in party comps right now. We've got double Red Mage versus Red Mage Black Mage, so this could be a gamble that pays out in Elastoid's favor, but we'll see.
Well, it's like I said before. A Red Mage is essentially a Black Mage once it promotes all the way up to level 5. After then, you still have to worry about spell permissions and whatnot, but I like the Red Mage personally over the Black Mage just from the sheer amount of more health and the fact that it can become a melee fighter in a pinch.
Yeah, and the typical issue that you have with running away kind of mitigated by the Thief, so if ever you're going to do a double Red Mage party, this is a pretty good time to do it.
I mean, that luck stat is important. I don't know how long these Thieves are going to be lasting in any of these seeds, though. It seems fairly common for many runners to just kind of kill them off early.
Yeah, I think the right move is to keep them alive until you're finished with your early dungeon runs. Marsh, or if you get funneled through ice, both of those times the Thief is pretty useful, and then after that, just kill them off until you reach Temple of Fiends.
Indeed. Well, let's see. Other things to see. We do have Town Shuffle on today, and I always like Town Shuffle in these seeds because, making that Provoca play typically is going to be on a case of, oh, maybe I'll find Provoca, maybe I'll find Crescent, but you can get an early item from those royals, say like something like a bottle or a slab, and then it makes that play even more lucrative. Is there any play that you think is going to be a big decider whether or not you're going to make a trip up to that Provoca location early on?
I think you make that trip always. It's just you can get burned so easily by something valuable being up there. If Crescent Lake is there or Provoca is there and you skip out on it, it can really hurt. Even if Elfland is up there, you can pick up level 3 spells and maybe have them for by the time you get to Marsh. So it's definitely useful to head over there and just see what exactly you're looking at there.
Indeed. So, troll item, because I always like to ask my co-commentator, if you have a trolliest location that you want to put a key item, what key item do you put, and where do you...
Loot in 3rd floor Earth. Or you could put Rod in 3rd floor Earth, too. That would be super annoying.
Because one of my favorite plays is loot inside of Titan's Tunnel. That is definitely my favorite play always.
Yeah, I think, especially on the 3rd floor of Earth, if you put the Rod in that chest that takes forever to get to, yeah, that's probably the most annoying thing that I've had to deal with as a runner. Any key item hanging out in that chest.
Oh, you're talking about the northeast chest, the never enjoyable chest to check.
Yeah.
Yep, I am very familiar with that chest, and normally you get ambushed by wizards about twice by the time you get there, so... As we're just getting ready to get started today, again, the match between Elastoid, TristalMTG, Edgeworth, and Kyu Ketsuki in the booth, and we have our tracker, Super Luigi, helping us keep everything on our toes as we're getting started right about So who in chat's excited for some action tonight? Let's see some pog champs up in there. Anybody want to see some good early game magic? Personally, for me, I'm always wanting to see just nothing but like fire, lit 2, and maybe a rub. Let's give them a rub today.
Yeah, I love the seeds that have the instant death spells early on, because you have to be a little clever in how you use them. So your zaps, your banes, your quad X's, your Brax, bring those on pretty early.
As we're getting our first look at magic, white magic has Cure 3 in the slot 3, that's learnable. And looks like we have Lit 3. So Lit 3 and Temper at level 1. We got an early game clear, we got Temper. That is two of the big things on my list. I'm just taking a huge sigh of relief as a runner.
Yeah, Lit 3 especially one of the best AoEs that you can find. Not a lot resists lightning in this game. And Invis 2 looks like nobody's going to get that this season.
Nope, because White Mage is banned, and that is White Mage locked.
But early Cure 3 definitely nice to have, and you can learn that on the night as well. So good stuff.
I think we saw in the item shop we had some cheap cabins. I think they're about 28 a piece, and we had some cheap houses. I think those are about 450 or so.
Yeah, definitely like to see the cheap cabins because you can drop a couple of them outside of Temple of Fiends, and Elastoid just going ham. Didn't bother even to save before heading in.
Well, we get a free house from one of the things and some early money. I mean, always getting early money is nice, especially with cheap cabins and save items. Lets you kind of move around a lot cleaner.
Yeah, this is going to be a very fast Temple of Fiends.
So it looks like Garland is punchy, but doesn't have much health, and it goes down for both of our characters, and we get the first look at the royal. King with the floater, and Princess Sarah is going to give us the tail.
So yeah, off to the races. Just where's the ship? Where's the canoe?
Indeed, indeed. You only need one of the two to get to that floater, and all-important sky access at that point. Flying the seven seas is not the theme of the tournament. It definitely is tonight when the Royals give you the floater. As anybody who's ran a lot of these seeds knows, getting that early floater is somewhat a blessing and somewhat opens up a lot of that world. But it really, really means that if you're against a quality runner, you are in for a rough time.
Alright, so 10 cabins, more than enough to check out Provoca and see what Matoya has as well. So, see what Elastoid is up to on the way here. He picked up a silver sword, not a bad idea. And he is just going to ignore right side altogether.
Wow, that is a great early game find in Matoya's chest. Finding the flame armor, a best in slot item for the fighter, tied with the ice armor, because it gives resistances. And for the ninja, that's best in slot once you promote. So, I mean, that is fantastic early game armor right there, right out the bat.
Yeah, then that is potentially endgame armor too, especially if you do not find a way to promote. Of course, the tail found early this time around, but you can do a lot worse than flame armor at the end of the game.
You know, if you're going to go into like a Marsh cave dive, I could not be happier than finding some really good armor for my front slot character. Just makes that dive so much safer if you don't have that exit or that warp.
Yeah, Tristal having to do that long walk back, that's why I like to do a quick save over in the marshland before you head to Provoca. It cuts down the amount of time you have to walk on a reset. So Elastoid with a little bit of a lead, although Tristal with the equipment I think is probably in better shape overall.
I mean, how much do you want to make a bet that Elastoid just goes and bum rushes straight for the Marsh incentive item at this point? He already skipped the Provoca check at this point.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. I don't like the play though. Just if you find towns and they have anything of value, it's such a swingy occurrence. But yeah, Looks like you're gonna have to go straight to Marsh this seed.
Yep, with Elfland being Meltmund and Provoka being on rack, you are forced right into Mark. So
Yeah.
either our incentive chest is going to be in the incentive location, or it could be loose in Marsh for progression.
Yeah, now with double at 3, I would be tempted to take a few fights in Melman just to get some levels, but yeah, Tristal is just gonna book it over to Marsh and take some fights here. It looks like.
It looks like Tristal is doing exactly what you mentioned, just taking some quick encounters right outside Melman. You have a town, you can get your spell charges up, and make that dive a little bit safer on his way. What would you say? Probably around level 5, level 7, you'd make your dive?
It all depends on how comfortable you feel, but I think with and this is a really good fight for Elastoid if he had lit charges. Uh-oh. Oh, low roll the Spectre. Oh,
Cardi
gets
in
the FF1
chat.
special.
Zara saying, nah, you do it at level 4, and for me who's done enough seeds, nah, I get punished every time. Seeing those early dives before 5 always gets me with the willies. But then again, I don't have Trist luck.
Yeah, I think most of the time 4 and 5 is good enough. If something nasty ends up down there, or you have a seed where like everything is unrunnable in Marsh, then it feels pretty bad. The other important thing though is Elastoid is significantly better armored right now, and that could make a big difference if gargoyles get a little punchy and decide to hit the back row.
That's true. Chain armor is one of the best early game finds in my opinion. It's typically always cheap, and it can be equipped on your fighters and your red mages, and your red mages actually become quite tanky against those early game enemies with 15 absorb, so that is a massive find. He also even bought some bucklers. That's a very rare play in my opinion.
Yeah, that one I don't like so much, but hey, they're 500 and it's a shield slot item, so if you got the money for it, whatever. You're not going to be buying spells anytime soon.
So it looks like in this case, I think Tristal is rocking only the flame armor from Matoya's Cavern, and Elastoid is using the free chainmails that he bought in Melmond, which was an Elfland location. So, as we have Elastoid booklining it straight down to the bottom.
Yeah, and this is something that I've seen a lot of the runners do. You can pick up one of the top room chests on the way through here, and chances are pretty good that there's not going to be anything super important up top.
So we have Tristal cleaning out the top floor right now, taking it in order of chest density, which is very veteran.
Yeah, normally I like the move to check by chest density, but the fact that you do have that link chest in the bottom means that if you get wiped on the top here, you can always take another shot at it. So, ooh, Pro Ring not good enough to walk out. So,
yeah, that one I think is a bit interesting because early game absorb anywhere is just really valuable. I mean, you can carry that all on your way through. So.
Yeah, I think he's pretty good on absorb for. Oh, well, this is a rude group to have paralysis touch and ambush.
But yeah, those stun touch wizards, not fun. They hit multiple times and they typically hit hard. So we got a TNT.
All right, so setting up for the rocket boat. These guys are unrunnable too. Do we have any healing other than Cure 3?
Cure 3 is pretty much it, other than heal potions, so. We also found a loose ribbon. Oh my goodness, that is a huge find.
Yeah, the earlier you get those, the better off you are. It just makes such a difference in the safety of diving dungeons.
Wow, that is a huge find. That is best in slot armor for every character in the game. There are 3 total across the game. One of them is going to be incentivized in this particular. Gives you resistance against all elements in the game and 1 absorb.
I mean, heck, you'll take the 1 absorb early on. You are fighting multiple hit gargoyles and crawls, so.
I mean, it's. But compared to like other armors, like Opal Helm, 8 armor, 8 absorb, like I'll take the resistance any day because that's gonna just do way more chip damage on.
Yeah, no, I mean, at this point, it's the only way you survive. Pretty much half of the enemy skills is having that ribbon equipped, so very important. We got a short sword in the corner too.
Man, these unrunnable gargoyles are just eating up the spell charges of the light warriors of both of our runners today.
So pretty good move by Elastoid to pick up the silver sword. Might need to cut his way out as those lit charges dwindle.
So as a recap for Avatar Diggs in the chat, good evening, Avatar. Thank you for popping in. Elastoid is using a custom sprite set. He is using a fighter, thief, and double red mage. He has named his characters to his character classes, but he is using his own custom sprites for that one. Tristal is using a slightly different party cop, but using the vanilla sprites in this case. He's using a thief, a fighter, a red mage, and a black mage.
So yeah, both Tristal and Elastoid with the ribbon and TNT in tow, and looks like a pretty quick way. Yep, pretty quick run out. So pretty innocuous marsh cave, and yeah, Elastoid's gonna burn the house and then go check the top slot. So
I think the only advantage he may take out of here if he doesn't hard reset is that 1 pro ring, and useful. Like with the 1 ribbon find, having a second character that's immune to some of the death elements is nice. I don't know if it's worth that lead though, because you can buy those pro rings later. As we're getting our first look at Narek. Narek, our canal maker, with the free canal is giving us, instead, we do have a rocket ship today, Edgeworth. You did predict it.
There we go. So, yeah, just, I don't know. I don't exactly know how he built that out of dynamite. I'm not going to ask any questions, but yeah, it's going to be a pretty quick floater, probably around the neighborhood of 15 minutes. And yeah, Elastoid decides not to walk the pro ring out either. I think the fact that they have so much money kind of contributed to that, because you can always cash the pro ring in and then buy it back later. But I think Elastoid found a chest with about 10k gold in it, and that should get him level 2, 3, and 4 spells, no problem.
So you're asking why he made it out of dynamite. Well, he already knew we got an early floater. So that's an easy way to make an airship at this point, just to apply a map. As we have Tristal immediately going in, there is a dock there with open progression and extended open progression to the Ryokan Desert, which allows you to get your airship, and TristalMTG at the 13 minute and 30 second mark is the first character. Finds out that Crescent Lake is... Gasp! Crescent Lake.
This is all Fred's fault. We got max price steel armor, so yeah, we're just gonna stick with this flame armor.
Too rich for my blood. Getting our first look at level 6 magic, we have Fog 2 in the first slot. Exit, a fire, and a mute.
Yeah, so late exit feels pretty bad. Quad X also feels pretty bad. That is definitely promotion lock.
I mean, the good news is, like, once you promote, you do have exit. So at least that's some worry if you want to try and quickly do your promotion and then get up enough levels through other dungeons before you want to make it, say, an ice dive or something.
Yeah, and the old men had the key, so there's if they need some more money, well, have a bunch of free chests to check.
With that, that unlocks the Elf Castle Armory. It unlocks the Coronarian Chest Armory, the Northwest Castle locations, the ones in TOF. And there's also TFC and C once they get the Oxyel, and Zarda has the Cube. We caught him in his D&D session, so we got a D6 for it.
So Sages with the key, Sarda with the cube, and Elastoid picks up his key now.
With the key and no canoe, that is basically you're looking at first floor, second floor Earth. You've got volcano full act. You have ice. Which play do you like at this point?
I like to play to clean out the crown chests. I mean, you've got you grab a bunch of money and then try to find Elfland or Provoca.
That's also a valid change, and you could also do the Cardia check with the tail at the same time too.
Yeah, and that's always a really efficient move if you can do the promotion at the same time. I just favor taking a peek at like Gaia maybe to see if that's Provoca or Elfland, because if you can get Warp before doing the promotion, it does save you a decent chunk of time.
As we have both players making the exact same play and finding in the Coronarian chest, we found both a Thor hammer and a black shirt. Great caster items early on, and some endgame potential armor for Tristal's Black Mage.
Yeah, never unhappy about finding spellcaster items. Throw those on the fighter, and just having another AoE is super useful.
Thor hammer casting Lit 2, and the black shirt casting Ice 2. As we were checking some of Cardia, and Cardia has lots of money today, it looks like. So far, at least. Elastoid checking out Matoya's chest and getting his flame armor, so now he has some great armor for his fighter. As Tristal's now checking the swamp tiles. Lots of money in a house again. So Silver Hammer, not really that useful. It's great. I believe that is best in slot outside of the Masamune for the White Wizard. No White Wizard today, so kind of a moot point.
Yep, and here comes the promotion, and having not seen the purchase item yet, it's always good to collect money. If that thing has rolled max price, it can really put a dent in your pocketbook.
Again, no early game warp, no early game exit, as we have exit at tier 6. So it is Red Mage learnable though. That is important. Exit is Red Mage learnable after promotion. So it's Red Wizard learnable, excuse me. So we're getting our final looks at the last 3 chests in Cardia Island. Tristal finds a pure potion, and it looks like it's going to be some more money, finally some cabin.
Yeah, the Elastoid right behind, so I guess they both had the same idea.
Tristal checking... Okay, he does go back and check the Oasis really quick. It is not an Oasis today, so...
Yeah, but it's very nice that you have buy 10 in the Oasis now. That wasn't always a feature, but being able to get some shopping done without actually going into a town is a fairly nice touch.
Heck, the buy 10 functionality, as somebody who's played the vanilla game, is such a quality of life change. And I'm grateful for the dev teams, and anytime they make some of these quality of life changes that just help the game move even faster. For things that, just don't need to take that long. We did find, I believe that was Lit 2 and Saber in black for level 7. Which is always an option, in my opinion, for Red Wizards. I don't think I'd use my money that early before finding the loose item as a crown for about 10k. inside of Gaia location, which was Gaia.
All right, and Tristal, I don't know, debating doing that check. Haven't seen Provoke yet. Haven't seen Elfland yet. Either one of those would be pretty useful.
Well, I agree with his play. He initially dropped down saying, hey, I can go get that. But since we don't know what Elfland and Lufane is, and Lufane could be vanilla, that entire trip could be just for... As we get the bottle from the kindly old king, and now he's upset that we took his rum. Gratefully so, in my opinion, but...
Yeah, Lit 3 gonna get the job done, and Elastoid went pretty quick through the menuing there. Hope he picked that crown up, but we'll see in a second. Yep, he's got it.
So Elastoid is going to make the Lufane gamble. Could be Elfland, could be Lufane. Let's see what it pays off to be. As he runs into my favorite enemy, the almighty steak. We eat those.
Yeah, he's not doing a lot of damage to him so far. The Lit 3's it's going to make this a long fight. And it's one of those things where the Tyro has a lot of magic defense, but not a lot of absorb. So it's better to fight them later in the game when you have better weapons. It seems like he didn't have a lot of HP though, so that's level 7 for Elastoid across the board.
I mean, the only thing to note is that Tyro did have glance, so could have had a statue from one of his light warriors at that point.
Alright. So Tristal finds the canoe, Elastoid makes the gamble, and it pays off pretty big here. With Provoca being down here, so level 2 spells. Now Tristal is just going to make the move to come down here as well, so good stuff for everyone.
Yep, as I said wrong in my notes, Bicky gave us the ribbon. The last 2 locations were going to be either Provoca or Elfland, so you would get good early game magic. Yeah, and in this case, just checks it off the list. You may have to come back later if you do find good white or black magic at level 2. For
that is a pricey pro ring there.
But with both of our runners promoted, they can grab everything in one go at this point. Fade at level 2. Massive for both the Red Wizard and the Knight.
Yeah, so Elastoid's double Red Wizard paying off here.
And Fast and Warp. Fade, Fast, and Warp. One of the ideal dreams for a early game level for mages in my opinion.
Yeah, it's kind of unfortunate that they're all on the same level, but as you get more and more charges, that will be less of a concern. Right now, it's just important that you have access to all of these, so especially Warp will make clearing dungeons so much faster.
Well, that already opens up the Warp Chicken Ice Cave. Warp at level 2 means that you can spam it doing an ordeals check with that canoe from the fair. I mean, that is really nice. Lit 3 is going to carry you for most of the game as an early game clear, as I view most of those level 3 spells.
Yeah, and no, definitely having Warp is going to save you so much time. They haven't done ordeals yet, they haven't done Ice Cave yet, so a lot of... in fact, I don't think a lot of their runners have done crown chests either, so that'll save time right there.
So we have Elastoid picking up his Sarda D6, getting the cube. The question is, we found all of these nice items at this point. But I think the only gamble that's potentially on the table right now is, do you go straight for the Waterfall on-rec location, which is Elfland play, or do you potentially do Ice Cave, do you do Volcano, or do you do Ordeals? Those are your three, your couple options on the table.
I like the Ordeals play in this situation. You have Warp, so if you run into problems, you can get out of it fairly easy. Lit 3 is pretty effective in that dungeon. It's also a shorter dungeon, and you would like to have more fade charges for Waterfall, definitely.
As Elastoid is our first player to check the Elfland Armory there. Unfortunately does not find much.
And there's some good spells in level 3 magic. Ice 3, definitely going to come in handy going through Waterfall. Very good against those nightmares. Cure 4, not accessible, unfortunately.
Cure 4 is blocked today. You are not going to get Cure 4. It is White Mage only.
Alright, so Elastoid is going to pick up his canoe, Tristal is going to dive Waterfall, and let's see what we get here.
Man, that hero run is massive today. Did you catch which encounter it was on today?
I did not.
Anytime you get a run like that, that is always nice. In my opinion, the worst encounter tables are always the ones where pretty much every encounter is about the same number of steps away.
Yeah, those are definitely the hardest to manipulate and always make for the longest seeds.
Tristal gets into the trap tile fight of the mummies, but we did get a visit from the mighty out of bounds bat. Forever may you reign. Good luck upon the seed for us all.
Yeah, and Tristal also gets a pretty good distribution of enemies too. Might have liked to see some more Wiz Mummies, but this is a pretty easy pack to deal with.
So we're getting the first looks at these chests here, and we'll see what the robot has for sale today.
Yeah, playing it safe and healing up before checking these chests too, so...
As the robot's carrying the ruby. But we did find an opal bracelet.
It's not a total loss, and who knows, maybe those 4 chests have something good in them too, but it's going to be a while before they get checked, I think.
You know what that puts on the play though at this point? We found our ruby.
Yeah. Maybe there's a loot in there.
Maybe there's a loot in there. So we're mainly looking for loose items. We still have the incentives of both ordeals and the ice cave yet to check for our runners. Elastoid is in Waterfall currently, on his way toward the Waterfall robot. Unfortunately, we know that's the ruby today, but the consolation prize of the opal bracelet, best in slot armor for any non-fighter and thief, in my opinion. Sorry, non-ninja and knight. Tristal, with the perfect movement toward the Ordeals dungeon, walks in and takes exactly 3 water spaces on there. Going in and out of the river is a free encounter tile. Does it perfectly, execute.
Yep, somehow resisted the urge to come here earlier, but has a ton of warp charges now, so this should be a pretty quick click.
Again, not checking the chest on this floor. It's trap tile blocked, and it's a linked chest on the last floor. So, well, with Lit 3, that's going to make these sorcerers, pretty easy, and the Thor Hammer. So, but they're a little bit tankier today. I think they've got over 100 health at this point.
Yeah, it looks like they're around the 150 to 200 neighborhood. So, so Tristal has found 2 whammies so far. That is not so good.
Again, the Ordeals pillars are randomized in this flag set, so you have to know what's going on. I think we saw a loop there for a second there too.
Yep, but he made it out just fine, and well, here's a good enemy for those Ice 3 casts.
Nightmare's weak to ice. I believe all pony variants are actually weak to ice. You know, I always like seeing Medusas. Whether they're green Medusas or regular Medusas, they tend to show up in large packs, and they're decently worth a decent amount of EXP per of them if you can get a good pack.
Yeah, nice. Generally nice enemies. They're much nicer than they are in the vanilla game when they like turning you into stone fairly easily.
As we found both the katana and in the incentive chest, we found the herb in ordeals. So Tristal getting an endgame weapon for his dead ninja.
It's not too bad to have. With the crit rate on the katana, even a level 10 thief can get some chip damage. But I think Tristal's ninja went down a lot earlier than that. So.
Goes properly through the river again on his way back. Again, for those of you watching at home, that's exactly how you want to go through that area. Get you a lot of free encounters on your way through. As he's going to turn in the herb and see what the prince was taking his time on. Looks like he had a cookbook tonight. So we gave him the rosemary, the garlic, the thyme, even perhaps some cumin. And we got the famous recipe to the Lufane Classic. And level 5, Fire 3, great find at this point. Still, I believe missing at this point are your nuke is the main thing missing for your black magic spells at this point.
Yeah, so that is advantage Elastoid right there, having double fade. He can be a lot more aggressive in the Temple of Fiends fights.
I think, yeah, Brack and Bane I think have also been missing as well. Tristal going on to the Lufanes, which are in Melman today, and seeing that they are going to give us a Zara. With that, we have full Earth Cave access, and he's going to feed the Titan.
Yeah, I mean you're in the neighborhood, and that's 4 pretty easy chests, so no reason to not check those.
Well, my guess is gone. And unfortunately, they found the rod, so I think that was your guess, right, Edge?
Yeah, I mean loot could still be down there though. And loot is always the item you feel worst about being loose, because if that's the last item that you find, that means you have access to every dungeon, and it could be in any one of them.
Always true, and the thing is that loot has so many places it can go anywhere in the logic, so... At this point, could even be in Marsh keylocked.
If it's in Marsh keylocked, I have the feeling that both of the runners, that's going to be the last place that we see checked, so...
Really, because I always put my money on keylocked TOF.
Keylock TOF is a lot easier to check than Keylock Marsh.
Elastoid putting some good work in his clear of ordeals, and he's making his way toward his key item inside of that ordeals dungeon, which, you know, never a great find, but when you get the herb, it's still something. So we have Tristal going into Ice Cave and finding the crystal.
Yeah, not too bad to pick up here. And the more fetch quests you knock out early, the higher your experience is going to be because of that boost that you get around 12 key items.
Yep. I mean, it's definitely at that point where you could take a grind anywhere you feel necessary. I don't think we're going to see much from these kind of... Seems like a lot of people with, those veterancy tags like to go into these Tophers at low 20s and just get away with some RNG.
Well, if you have enough of the support spells, even a level 20 Topher dive isn't too scary. But as we've seen, we haven't seen life yet. We haven't seen, and we know Cure 4 is not can't acquire that. No Invis 2. So it's gonna be a little dicier for sure. But I think Tristal is gonna finish, around 24 or above. Especially committing to this 3-man, should have no problem getting the levels.
As we are going to get the full clear out of Ice Cave from TristalMTG, Elastoid picking up his spells out of Crescent. Trying to get everything they need to finish off this game, picking up his exit on his red mages and getting the heck out. Does he go to Ice Cave? Does he go to Volcano? Where does he go next? He decides he wants to go for the incentive location as well.
Yeah, and I don't disagree with this. Even though you have 2 loose items, they very easily could be in the incentive locations. So I've played a number of seeds where Ice Cave has had 2, Marsh has had 2, Ordeals has had 2. That is a big find for Tristal.
As we find the loot loose in ice. On the final floor of ice, we found music.
Yeah, so ice loaded. Got Power Gauntlet there as well, and still need to see what that crystal turns into. So things are wrapping up fairly quickly here, I would say.
Well, we know that Matoya is either going to be leading us to either the Adamant at this point, or potentially our Chime or our Oxiel through that quest line. Those are the last kind of things we need, and we need both the Chime and the Oxiel, so we need that second loose item at this point.
Question in chat, what was the buy item? The crown was available for about 10k in Gaia, which was vanilla.
Gaia Town was vanilla. The vanilla item in the item shop is, I believe, in the caravan, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah, that's right. And this is not good. Elastoid is warping out, it looks like.
He decides that he grabbed his key item and he's going to skip the rest of chess in Ice Cave. That is a heartbreaker, and that is definitely one of those gambles that runners make. You may feel behind at this point against Tristal, a kind of a well-known runner in the community decides I want to grab the incentive item and then go for higher density checks or checks along the way in dungeons.
The way things are going right now, though, he is doing a lot of running out the front door. I feel like if he's already made it down there, he might as well finish the dungeon. So I guess out of warp charges, too, is not a good place to be.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. If you don't have the warp charges to get all the way out, you might as well just get the information at the very least. One of those things. Even if you think you may wipe.
Yeah, so Elastoid is going to make it out of ice ahead of Tristal, but is going to be significantly behind. No Power Gauntlet as well is going to feel pretty bad.
Oh, but the race have damage poison.
Yeah,
that may be the reason that he made that play.
Well, taking a wipe might have been in Elastoid's best interest there, but Tristal makes it through just fine. And we'll see what this crystal is. That is go mode, I think.
No, we are still missing the chime at this point.
No chime?
No chime. Chime's going to be coming from a loose adamant at this point.
Gotcha. So, that's... Well, not finding the chime, also pretty nice. We'll see what this TNT turns into. Or, oh, he already turned it in. That's right, it was the rocket boat. So what's in these chests?
We didn't have the key earlier, so he's going to take his first look through that. Looks like just a light axe at this point.
Yeah, so given the percentages, Sea Shrine looks like a pretty nice play. And yeah, Chime is a pretty nice last item to find. It completely shuts out the dungeon with the most chests in it.
Now, Tristal is going to go check some key lock locations, decides not to go straight for a dungeon at this point. But yeah, with level 1 Temper, I mean, the power bonk is not as big of a thing. Especially since it's not sharing a slot with, like, Fate or Nuke. But Tristal finds, well, one of his more infamous swords. He finds, not only finds the game clencher, the Bane Sword, but he finds Old Reliable, the Sun.
Well, you got a lot of tempers, so this might be Sunsword might be good enough to do it. And you've got Power Gauntlet as well. All depends on whether the Fiends decide to give you time to set up or not.
Yep, the Sun Sword, also known as the Woe Sword, and personally for me, it's Old Reliable. With level 1 Temper and Monk, it'll get the job done. Decides to skip the rest of the right side second floor chests on Volcano and goes straight for the armory.
Well, you might as well go for, you know, the biggest concentration of chests. You've only got one item that you really need to find, so time to dig it out.
You think he's gonna do this floor 2 and then warp out, or you think he's gonna full clear the rest of Volcano?
Well, if he hasn't found what he's looking for, full clear of Volcano does not take very long. So,
because you had both Volcano and Sea Shrine on the board at this point, so.
Whole lot of nothing so far.
Yep, those armory chests are just not playing nice today. Checking the top 2, gets a house, the unrunnable fire. So fires are unrunnable today, and behind the trap tile at this point is a silver helmet. So he's going to go back and check the rest of his chests on his way back. But we're getting the rest of these checks here. Elastoid is flying around. Tristal keeps running into these Peds, which are also known as EXPs to most of them. And using these ice charges effectively against him with the Sun Sword, gets some more EXP. Decides to go check the hairpin chest at this point. This is one of my personal favorite chests. It has one of the longest runs too, and you're typically going to get at least 1 to 2 encounters on your way. Elastoid is the first one to check the bottom chest at this point with about 6,000 gold. Bupkis, Elastoid skipping Hairpin right now. You are correct, Specty. Herb did lead the slab, if I remember correctly as well, which I do. Which the Lufanians gave us the rod, so. The Hairpin chest is about 2k gold. As we have some more Pede fights. Pede's extremely common on this encounter table. Oh goodness, if I was a runner trying to take this a little earlier, with a couple of houses and whatnot, you could be easily getting your grind done while just checking chests. So, I mean, they may be a bit beefy, but a couple Ice 2 casts, Thor Hammer or 2, and you get it done. So, Elastoid's on his way toward the armory section, which, again, we already know the armory doesn't really have much. Tristal is checking his final chest on floor 2, and then is moving down probably toward the rest of the floor. But he used up a lot of his charges, so he decided to warp out and use a house before he does his full dive at this point. I like that play. You have the warp available. I believe that was at level 2. So getting it and coming back in with fresh charges for your full dive, make sure that you have everything in the tank all gassed up and ready to go for that first fight against a... Again, taking all of these free spaces. Again, any lava square is damage done to the character, and damage squares do not count as encounter. So you want to take as many of those damage squares as you can. As he's checking a couple more chests, finds the ice armor. Another endgame armor, and is great for that ninja at this point, in my opinion.
It just occurred to me that Elastoid skipping the loot probably means that he's going to full clear Sky before going back to Ice.
Yeah, that seems fairly likely at this point. I don't know what else he'll also full clear, though. So I think he'll probably do all of his orb dungeons at that point.
Yeah, so it's a really unfortunate gamble that he took, but sometimes you gotta make those.
Tristal finds his second katana, but we're not running Double Thief today, and decides to just leave it alone. So far, we really haven't found much in this dive. I mean, the ice armor was pretty much the most hyped thing so far. I mean, opal armor is great. That is the best absorb for the knight, tied with the dragon armor. It just doesn't have both the ice and fire resist that the dragon armor has, but it does have the lightning resist.
Yeah, and it's definitely you don't need to find the dragon armor if you have a ribbon on the knight. So Tristal's in pretty good shape right now.
Question in chat. Specty, isn't elemental armor / shield best in slot for ninja outside of the opal bracelet? Essentially, I always consider the elemental armor as best in slot for the ninja because you're sacrificing one absorb for an elemental resist because you're typically not going to put a ribbon on.
Yeah, and if you can pair up elemental resists as well, like the ice armor with the flame shield, or the other way around, you get a lot of mileage out of that for sure.
The easy way to remember it is opal armor, opal shield is lightning resist, and The reverse is true for the ice and the fire armor. So the flame armor, the flame shield resist ice. The ice armor, the ice shield resist flame. As we're getting very close to a first look at a Fiend at this point. On TristalMTG side, he is going to be our first runner to approach a Fiend, and that Fiend is Carry. Let's see his approach to this fight, as he fights in and uses Fade and Fast. Fade hits for 128. The Knight hits for the Sun Sword for 47 damage. Carry swings into the Black Wizard, doesn't do much damage. I believe the Black Wizard is wearing the black shirt at this point. Going in with some chip damage potentially. No, Bane Sword. 8 hits for 215 damage. That Fasted Knight kills Carry, and we have our first Ord lit at the 50-minute mark in 30 seconds.
Yeah, so this is still pretty quick. One loose item to go, but this is shaping up to be a pretty fast seed.
Question in chat, why don't you see more thieves being awake? Thief is unfortunate. It sits in an unfortunate state in Final Fantasy 1. Not all characters are balanced, and the thief is the short end of this. It does less damage than the fighter, has less hit growth than the fighter, has less HP growth than the fighter, and it can't equip as much stuff as a knight can. It's in a sad state, in my opinion. Which is why I always say buff Thief 2019.
Yeah, the base stats of the Thief are pretty bad to the point where the Thief actually needs to hit around level 25 before he starts outclassing a Red Mage in melee, which is a little odd. So generally the Thieves are used for two things, running away and meat shields in Temple of Fiends. So you'll see them alive a lot early to get away from large encounters to help save spell charges when you don't have a lot. And then once you've passed that threshold, they are there to get punched by Kraken.
It's a sad life for a thief, and it's very unfortunate in my opinion when you're outclassed in melee by a class that's supposed to be a mate. But that's just some Q salt right there. As we're getting our dive and sea shrine, I like Tristal's approach here. He has his levels, he's going and checking chests along the way to Kraken first. Lucky for me, I've got a short sheet here. And we do know that the path toward the orb has only a total of 9 chests, as we have Elastoid fighting Carry for his fight. Customs rights have it as Team Rocket. Getting some tempers in on the Knight, and a fast.
He's stacking it all on that ninja there, and of course the ninja gets paralyzed in the first hit, so...
Might be memeing it up a little bit. But it could also be the fact that he thinks that Katana is going to get the work done with the higher crit compared to the Sun Sword. Switches strategy, goes straight for some fades. And fades get it done. Carry goes down.
Team Rocket is blasting off again. And we'll see where Elastoid decides to head this time. This is an interesting move. He's going back to finish eyes.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about this play if I was from a paradigm here, because you're already checking high density locations, and you've gotten your Oxyale, so... We do know the loot is here, but...
Yeah, I mean, this is a good play from a perspective of hidden knowledge, but I think there are definitely better plays if you don't know that what you're looking for is here.
Yeah, because again, watching it from chat, you see this. It's the correct play. It's one of those where it just seems he's changing his complete idea of I'm going to go check the higher density location. All we found so far was a Zeus Gauntlet in Sharknado floor, so I mean, great. Castlet 2 also finds an Ice Sword. 29 damage, great for that red wizard at this point, but it's kind of been a bust on the Kraken on the up floor.
Yeah, so if Elastoid decides to make an Earth Dive, it could be a pretty good gamble on his part.
Yeah, because at this point we know it's either going to be in Earth, or it's in Mermaids, or it's in Marsh Keel.
And I think this is one of those situations where, Elastoid has to feel behind digging the loot out after taking that run out here. So if he's going to make a gamble, knowing what dungeons Tristal likes to dive and what situations is going to help him out a lot.
As Tristal is rapidly approaching the Fiend of Water, the Octopolypse now, that is Kraken 1. First he gets a bit of a seafood party pack. I mean, it's all you can eat today, but I don't know how much you want to fill up before the Kraken fight.
As long as you have fade charges for the Kraken fight, you got plenty of lit 3s, and Elastoid is going to be real happy to find that power gauntlet.
As Tristal gets encountered on the tile to the ore.
And there is his loot. So, 56 minutes, and now it is decision time for Elastoid. Where do you go from here?
Going in with a first fight from TristalMTG. Fast up that fighter. 11 hits for 251 damage. Kraken is swinging decently today. The fade hits, I believe, for about 310 at this point. So that's a decent chunk done out. The red wizard goes down. Decides this is time to do fades. 87 damage. Not much. Lit 3. Using the weakness against Kraken. Kraken is weak to lightning damage. And decides to keep going with these lightnings. As he's swinging in with the fighter at this point. Lightning 3 for 218. Fade. 270. Kraken goes down.
Yeah, a little bit scary of a fight there, but Tristal had a very, very well armored knight that could take a punch, and that went a long way.
Yeah, with I believe he's probably had a power gauntlet. He had an opal armor. He had a pearl ring and a ribbon at that point. Doing quick maths in my head, I mean, that is a total of, I believe, 47 absorb at that point for his knight.
Yeah, and that makes a big difference, especially when we've got Elastoid going step for step. So if Elastoid goes right side, maybe he's not so bad off. But yeah, this is one of those situations where if you're facing a runner with stronger execution, if you do the exact same things that he does, it's generally not going to turn out well for you. So I think in Elastoid's situation, yeah, the Earth play would probably be the best gamble. I mean, it could very well be that the Adamant's at Mermaids, but you got to give yourself a chance to win, I think.
Well, Elastoid was one of the first people to sit down with me last year in the fall, and that was one of the first things he always told me. Why are you diving Mermaids when you can go check all the chests on your way toward? So I had a feeling he was going to do this. So, but he took a wipe to the Wiz Sahag Red Sahag fight. What was that?
That was Bane that killed everything but his spellcasters, and yeah, that is something that I don't think Tristal has even seen that group yet. so might have been shuffled over to 6 or 7.
Once again, the showing of RNG tables. Sometimes you run into it and you just beat your head against the wall on it over and over and over again. Sometimes other runners don't even.
And
as he gets baned again.
So do the Wissahags have it, or do the Arsahags have it?
Wissahags have it.
Okay, because that could be trouble for Tristal if he runs into the 6-pack of them.
As we find loose adamant in the standard C incentive chest, if I remember right.
Yep. I think it's one over from the standard slab chest. So let's see if Tristal checks the rest of these.
You're correct. It's on the left. Yeah, you're right on that one.
So yeah, Tristal, an hour in, hits go mode, and yeah, this is shaping up to be a pretty nice time. But I think he would like something better than a Sun Sword, which is why he's still checking chests.
I mean, you got decent density here. You can check 3 more chests on your way out, but he decides, nope. If I'm going to check any more chests, it's probably going to be maybe some in Earth that are...
Yeah, you can catch a few on the way through Earth, and you can catch a lot on the way through Sky. So, and it's looking like Sky is the play since he's dropping this chime off right now.
I mean, I like it. I don't think I need anything more than the Sun Sword, but it's always nice to have a better sword. Which would be more like the Masamune or the Excalibur, and potentially using the Vorpal for ball.
Alright, so Tristal's going to check some of these free chests on the way through Earth, and then we'll see. Maybe he saves himself a lot of time in Sky by doing this.
You know, I like checking those 3 chests on floor 2. They're not that far out of the way, and you get 3 of them right off the bat. I think the other one that you may be checking is going to be along the way on this floor 3. Do you think he takes a trap tile as well, the one behind the Earth?
Probably not. He has warp charges, so the 5 at the top of B4. Not a bad play either.
Again, I always love picking the brain of a veteran runner whenever I get the chance, so...
Yeah, it's just a matter of how greedy are you feeling, and with respect to Earth, there's a lot of chests that are kind of out of the way, so Tristal, again, skipping that chest on B3 that takes forever, I totally agree with that, even though he's still looking for his sword. You've got 3 options that you feel pretty comfortable with, so the chances are if you sample enough chests, you're going to find one of the 3 eventually. Just grab the ones that are the fastest to get to.
I mean, another thing that you could find at this point, I believe the white shirt's still missing at this point, and the defense sword. With Invis 2 being locked to white magic only, you know, that's always a nice find as well at this point.
Yeah, the defense sword wouldn't be so bad if you could hit level 29 before the end, but Tristal he's not shaping up to hit that yet, and I think he won't unless he 2-mans through Sky.
Question in chat. Elastoid, I believe, is using a combination of sprites between Final Fantasy. Hey! As we find the Excal! For Tristal. One of my personal favorite swords, hits every single weakness in the game, has a high base damage, has a low crit rate, but I'm A-okay finding that one.
Poor Tristal getting bullied by the bats here, but yeah, Excal. I don't know, probably the least desirable of the swords. It does such good work until you get to Tiamat 2 and Chaos. But he's got enough temper charges and fast where that'll get the job done for sure, and it's going to cut down on the amount of time it takes to set up.
Indeed, indeed. I mean, I'm always happy to find the Excal, personally, for me. I love high base damage swords. They carry you through no matter what, if you're going through on trash or if you're going through on boss. Where your crit rate really just doesn't matter. Your base damage is the thing that matters. As we have Elastoid fighting Kraken Honda, which in this case is, I believe, a character from Punch-Out.
Yeah, and well, punching is a thing that Kraken loves to do, and there you go. There's an example of it. So that thief is just not getting any love so far. Just does not, just doesn't get to exist.
Decides to go for some Brack Strats, and there we have it! Broken into pieces!
Yeah, even though Tiamat 2 is weak elementally against poison, you have the same percentage chance to land Brack and Bane on Kraken as you do T2. So if you got a couple casters of that, sometimes that is a perfectly valid strategy for getting through that fight.
Well, as we were talking about being broken to pieces, I think Tristal just did some laundry because I see a purple rogue hanging at a corner. So it looks like Lich got taken out in the meantime.
Yeah, and Elastoid's ninja got broken into pieces too.
Yeah, if I remember right, the Excalibur's weakness effect actually works on everything outside of Chaos, so... That's always my main argument that I say. It's like, I will always try and use the Excal until Chaos, and then if I have the Whirlpool, that's when I switch. But that's my personal opinion. I know we have some cultists in the chat who deem otherwise.
Well, the thing is, the higher the percentages you go, the better off Vorpal is. But we're at 220 right now. And you can pretty reliably get through most of the Fiends with Excal or Masmian. It's just every now and then you're going to run into that high absorb Chaos or Tiamat 2. And your swords are just going to bounce off of them and you wish you had that crit rate.
Indeed, indeed. And that's when you bring the One Punch Man sometimes, so... It's definitely a break point for me. I think in this lower percentages, the fighter is really reigning king. I know fighter is still very, very good in high percentages as well. I think that's where the extra hits, the extra crit rate from your black belts really do shine. Besides, a 5-pack of Badman is actually good enough for him, as he just wants some extra EXP at this point, and that's going to give him a decent chunk. As we are going in and going straight onto the star floor. Tristal rapidly making his way through his final dungeon, Elastoid on his way to make all of his checks in the Mermaid's Blood.
Yeah, and it's pretty clear that Tristal doesn't want to take any encounters for experience for the most part. He's got the Thief alive. And it's really hard to pass up these Whizvamps, though. There's a lot of experience in this group.
I mean, as long as they don't do anything too nasty with a light axe and some good sweepers. I mean, These Whiz Vamps can roll high, but they are very lucrative EXP-wise. Plus, it gets his thief a lot more levels at this point. Maybe potentially gets a temper or two. Or a fast, potentially, if he has to do a readout.
Yeah, I would like the idea of getting faster temper a lot better if you had a lot of life charges to throw around. But as things stand right now, not the case this season.
As Elastoid is checking his 3 chests and the left side of Mermaids, and he finds his adamant, and we know that is go mode for him. So chat, we are rapidly approaching the 4th floor and finally the 5th floor, the Bridge of Destiny. If you want to see our Robot Overlord, get your Bless RNGs and your Mr. Destructoids out. Remember, I love seeing some clever arguments on what a War Mech would say to our runners if they found them.
So, question in chat, what are the swords from left to right in the tracker? We'll go left to right on Elastoid's side. So, the first sword is defense sword, the second is katana, the third is... Or no, the second is...
Vorpal.
Vorpal, yeah. No, the second's katana, the third is Vorpal, the fourth is Mazmune. And I don't think... Is the X-Cal on this tracker? I don't believe so.
No, it is not on the tracker. This tracker, no. On our sister network, Randomizer, it is, if I remember right. And to anybody making the argument of swords, I'll put it this way. Every sword is viable. I may not like the Vorpal, but the Vorpal has saved me in certain... And it's all about knowing where you need to use a certain weapon that really does help you out. As we have our first fight, we find some Nacho Libre. One of my favorite encounters, as long as it doesn't roll too high hit points, it typically has some decent EXP from that.
It looks like he's pretty stale, though. It took an entire, his entire group worth of melee to kill him, so... And, yeah, Tristal is not playing around. We've got unrunnable airs as well, so this is lovely so far.
Elastoid is already starting to check chests that Tristal didn't at this point in Earth. But he does skip the never enjoyable to check chest, that northeast chest.
Yeah, so Elastoid is going to find the X-Cal, and that's probably going to be good enough for him.
But these unrunnable airs are just, you know, not being that friendly right now. And airs are definitely never one that I like to find because they don't have an elemental weakness. You know, you're like, you see waters, you use ice, or, you know, you see those fires, you use ice, and you see those earths, you use fire, but airs, not so much.
Nah, and hey, there's our boy.
Oh boy, we find the crab mech. Intruders located. Prepare to be hugged.
Yeah, and he's going for it. And that is a beefy punch right there.
Some fades, some ices. Looks like he's got some good MDef, but War Mech, not that much help. One big old crit just said we got a scrap load of EXP.
Yeah, I think War Mech had about vanilla health. It's just the fades and that crit did the job. Got some excellent rolls from the magicians there.
Elastoid finding his X-Cal. And Tristal taking on one of the Woat specials, the 4 Red Hydras, another great pack, as he's going into his fight against the Mother of all Dragons, Tiamat. Decides to do a little bit of re-equipment potentially here. No, we're good and we're going. A fight command, a fast command, a fight command, and a fast command. He's going to fast up both of his melee swingers, and hold fails on 4 hits for 319. Unfortunately, that fast did not get off. Unfortunately, but that Tiamat does not have that much of absorb. 554, so we're about 450 at this point. Going in with some chip damage and another swing from the Excal. 5 hits for 104. Bane Sword hits. Negative, ineffective. Swing from the Sun Sword, 1 damage. From the Ninja, 168. So we're sitting at approximately, if I remember right at this point, about 700 damage in. Another swing, 7 hits, 191. 900 damage. Ice 3 hits for about 37. Another Katana swing, 2 hits for 2 damage. Bane Sword, ineffective. More fight commands, more tempers. Here we go. Switching up our tactics. Fire 2 comes out. Doesn't do much. So we get some temper charges in. Getting that Knight strength up. 4 hits for 130. Another hit. 8 hits, 598. Tiamat is dead. We are our first character lit with 4 orbs. TristalMTG at the 1 hour, 15 minute mark.
Yeah, so anytime you can get a sub 130 on these flags, it's a pretty impressive piece of work, and it's shaping up pretty well for Tristal right now.
We have Elastoid on the fight with Death today. But these fades air out that robe, and Death is banished once again to the Clock Tower, where he's going to be waiting against for the next of the Belmont clan. Tristal is our first runner to enter TOF at approximately the 1 hour and 17 minute mark. Now I got a question, Edgeworth. Do you want to see a appearance from our favorite mascot this season so far?
The Iron Gull? That'd be nice.
Personally, for me, I think our honorary mascot this season is Green Medusas. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I think given what was probably the craziest seed of the tournament so far, that you are absolutely right.
Again, Tristal knows about that pain better than any of our runners today, as that is the Tristal-Wilkliosis match, one of, in my opinion, top 5 matches, if not the top match, to watch so far during the spring tournament. After the matches tonight, if you're still looking for something to fall asleep to, I would definitely recommend putting...
To fall asleep to? That match is too exciting to fall asleep to. It's crazy.
Well, if you're looking to not have sleep tonight, how about that then?
That works. Forget coffee, just throw that VOD on.
As we get some worms here. Worms seem to be fairly tanky at this point, because I think they have at least 450 hit.
Yeah, and well, down goes the thief. Yeah, this is not the easy fight that Tristal was hoping he would get, but he's kind of committed at this point.
Yeah, he kind of did, and lost 1 light warrior. No life charges available, so any warrior that goes down stays down.
And well, there's some old friends.
Well, the old friends didn't want to do much today, but I can easily tell that he probably was holding his breath there for a little bit. Besides, he's got enough EXP, he just wants to go at this point. More Green Medusas, not even a 7-pack is going to sway them. First refight of Lich. Did we get some respect? I don't think we did. 3 hits for 8 damage from the Sunsword. Light Axe hits for 68. The Excal hits for 356. The Lich is back to their grave.
No, that's That's when you hope all of the nukes and nuclears were on that guy when you one round the
Got some good turn order. Lich didn't even get a go. As we get our first look at Carry 2. Now, Carry 2 can be particularly nasty. And she definitely has some of the potential to be the highest damage in the game physically again. Goes with a Black Shirt. Black Shirt hits for 21 damage, fasting up that knight. Good turn order. Swings in on the knight. Does over 300 damage to it, but the knight swings back for 450 damage. Fades come in. Carry is swinging today. Bad turn order, and the knight goes down!
Yeah, so this is where not having evasion is pretty rough, and Tristal did a lot of damage, but just did not get good turn order in the second rematch.
Now let's put a point here. That knight took 300 and I believe 70 damage from Carry. That means if Carry targets any of his backline, they are dead.
Yeah, so if this is a melee only carry, Tristal is gonna be in some rough shape here, but I mean, Elastoid's gonna have to deal with the same exact thing too. The only difference is he's got a thief that is gonna also get exploded if they get hit.
Question from chat: what level was life spells? I believe one of them was locked in slot 6 to White Mage only, and I believe the other ones were in 7 and 8. Not learnable by the party today. As we have a second sighting of our robot overlord. On the Elastoid side, we have Warman.
Yeah, and this is probably a lot more favorable to Elastoid because he really needs the levels right now. So he is taking a long time to set up on this, though.
And he loses his ninja to Wormek's swing at this point.
That thief is just not allowed to be alive. Question in chat, what did Carry bring out? Carry brought out a melee of over 300 damage average. So.
And Elastoid gets a scrap load of EXP as Tristal is back in and back at the Lich fight. So it looks like Elastoid was on the exact same encounter table on his way through as Tristal was. As we're going in and fighting Bowser. Bowser is replacing Tiamat today from Elastoid's screen. And he kills the I believe that is the mascot of Nintendo of America, and TristalMTG is on the carry fight again. Swings in, 2 hits, 2 damage. The fighter takes another big hit for about 300 damage. Swings in, 7 hits for 554. Better hits this time. Fade for 93. Needs some good turn order potentially to get through this fight at this point. Another swing from the fighter. 8 hits, 549 damage. Double crits today from that Excal. Not a high crit rate, but the crits came through, and good turn order, and gets through carry.
Yeah, not too bad in the rematch so far, and he managed to keep his thief alive through this, so Tristal is in pretty good shape for this next upcoming fight, I would say.
Like this move, moving his thief up in the front. You know, you never know when Kraken be whacking. And trying to save his fighter at this point. Again, any light warrior that goes down stays down. 2 fight commands. A fade and a fast. Fade comes in for 154 damage. Fast goes on that knight. Kraken inks. That is a free turn for his light warrior. Swings in with the katana. 2 hits for 59 damage with a crit. 8 hits for 438. So we are at around the 600 point for Kraken. Lit mean 3 hits for 100. 3 hits for 130. The crits from the katana make takoyaki out of Kraken today.
Yeah, and even an unbuffed ninja can get in some chip damage, and you saw that right there. The air's still unrunnable.
Well, we may be putting on airs, and again, we know they're tanky, so they're just going to be sapping away. Spell charges, they're sapping away. Heal pots, it's something you have to keep in mind. Run into a big pack, like 6 potentially at that point, and that's just going to sap you dry. We also have unrunnable rock goals. Man, everything on the air floor today. As we're getting into the Tiamat fight. As we're going in with a couple fights, a fade, and a fast. Standard operating procedure for Tristal at this point. Comes in, hits for 2 hits for 101, some good crits coming in. 2 hits for 128, and a fade comes in for 312, so we are at approximately the 550 mark into Tiamat 2. Some tempers coming in. Ink is a free turn for these light warriors. Another hit. Miss! Miss from the katana. Temper comes in on the Excal. 48 damage, and a fade. 226 damage. We are at the 825 mark. Miss again. Fade comes in. We have 141. Tiamat had between 850 health and about 1,000. We got some sorcerers who want to interrupt the pain, as Tristal is a first runner at the 1 hour 26 mark to enter the final floor of... Any moves. Does he move the ribbon around? Does he move the power bonk? What does he do at this point? Decides to put the ribbon on the fighter. Decides to put the flame armor on the fighter, the opal armor on the fighter, and potentially move off that opal shield or the pro ring to move that power gauntlet. Decides that he does not want the pro ring at this point, he wants a power gauntlet. Does not equip it, does not reset the power gauntlet in the first slot. Does equip it, but does not move it into the first slot. So, as we have Elastoid fighting Team Rocket, Team Rocket takes the toll on the Thief. The Thief is going to stay down as Tristal pulls the Great Fiend Chaos. Going in with the same strategy. Some more tempers, some more power gauntlets, some fasting, trying to get that knight stacked up as quick as possible. Fast from the ninja. Bane comes out. Ineffective across the party. All light warriors survive the first turn Bane. Fade for 145.
Yep, and now with 3 temper casters, this is going to be a lot of damage very quickly, to the point where I think there's
Nuke! Nuke comes out, wipes out 2 party members. No cure 4. He has to start swinging soon.
Yeah, I think last turn was the turn to start swinging. We'll see what the chaos follow up is. There's slow 2, which would have been brutal.
Cure 3, keeping that knight alive. Down to just A and pray at this point. A and pray. 595. Over 1,000 damage in. 246. Nothing. Bane. Short Chorcelis. Nuke's coming up next.
Oh, spell list is 8 long, so he had 2 Banes in it.
Another tornado. He's at the 2,000 point. 154. Nuclear comes out. 1 knee. 4 hits. 616 damage. Chaos is dead.
GG to Tristal. Needed every bit of those cure 3 casts from the red mage, and yeah, makes it out by the skin of his teeth at a very, very good 128 time.
As we have Elastoid just completing his Kraken Honda, he is on his way toward Tiamat 2 at this point. But he does not run into the unrunnable airs. He does not run into the Iron Goals at this point. He's run into the third fight at this point. The Sorcerer. As TristalMTG is our first place runner to complete the seed at the 1 hour, 28 minute mark and 43 seconds. Does run into an unrunnable rock goal fight as he's making his way to Tiamat 2. Tiamat 2 we know has between about 850 and 1000 hit points. Decides to go with some Power Gauntlet, some Fades. Nope, goes with a Fast and Temper. He's going full bore into Tiamat. Strikes back with a Fire 2. Doesn't do much damage. Chip damage across the board. As he's hitting in with more Tempers before he gets his Rub ineffective. Swings in with the X-Cal for 8 hits, 864. So he's very close at this point. Anything should clean off this Tiamat. Tiamat 2 is, as TristalMTG is going to be joining us in a moment inside of the broadcast booth. As we have Elastoid trying to rapidly make his way to the final floor of the final Fiend. And he's almost there. Elastoid jumping in to the final floor. He is going to be pulling out his chaos at around the 1 hour and I'm going to say about 31 minute mark. Decides that all of his light warriors are set up and here we go. We are fighting Hans Gruber on the top of the Nakatomi Tower today. As Tempers are going out on his fighter. A big hit from Chaos for about 151. 2 Tempers coming. And a Power Gauntlet. So he's fasted up, he's got some Power Gauntlet, he's going in for more Temper. Cure 3, making sure his fighter stays alive. Bane is ineffective across the board. Temper charges coming in. More Power Gauntlets at this point. As he's going for more Tempers, and a Cure 3. Okay, so he has at least a lot of stacks at this point. Nuke comes in, wipes out his red wizard at this point. Decides Cure 3, and now we have to go. Slow 2 comes in. I believe that was ineffective. 3 hits for 607. Cure 3.
Definitely effective. He's got to recast it now.
Oh no. Refasts up. Bane comes in again. More Tempers. Fire 3 comes out. We know Nuclear is in the pool for skills. 4 hits for 740 damage. Ice 3 comes out. Wipes out his other light warrior. 4 hits for 467 damage. Another swing. 2 hits for 261. Tornado wipes out his party. Hans Gruber is victorious.
That is a pretty high tornado roll too. So, and Elastoid is thrown in the towel. So, let's get Tristal in here now. Tristal, GG.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, that was a chaos that didn't seem very scary at first, and then out came that nuke that high rolled everybody, and it got terrifying very quick.
Yeah, there were definitely some spell issues there, but yeah, made it through.
So it seemed pretty smooth otherwise. What are your general thoughts on the seed other than that chaos?
Anytime you have an early floater seed, I feel like I want to go out of my way to make sure I level a little bit more, just because I'm not going to be spending as much time trying to find the floater, basically. So that's why there were so many extra fights I took. Plus, the spell selection we had was really not ideal, especially for the end game. No access to nuke, no access to either life spell, no cure 4. So it seemed like TOFR could be very, very scary. So again, I went out of my way to try and get a couple extra levels, and it seemed like that's exactly what I needed.
Yeah, that could have been a lot closer.
Yeah, we're joined by Elastoid right now. GG. Can you take us through your first dive on Ice Cave and kind of your thoughts?
Oh my god, and that's where I lost right there, is because so many places so quickly, and I was using warp just to get out really fast, and to get spell charges before I went into Ice Cave the first time. Well, I've only got 2 Castle Warp. Need both of them to get out. So yeah, that was a rough spot to be in. Walking through the last 2 floors, and then having to go back. I did, otherwise I would never have found the loot. But that, like, if I don't forget that, and I do all of Ice Cave in one go, I easily pick up them minutes and possibly closer to 4. Chaos, 3.5 minutes after Tristal finishes, so way to lose a seed.
Well, you know, at 2-2, you still are in prime position to make it to the the bracket at this point. Tristal at 3-1, you've at least made it to the play-in.
Yeah, that's a nice feeling. This was certainly my toughest race so far, so GG to Elastoid, and I wish you luck next round.
GG Tristal, I expected to lose by 8 minutes, and I lost by, well, actually, infinite amount, because I forfeited, I guess. Chaos wound up killing me.
It's okay, Elastoid. You want to know what he had after that tornado?
Tornado.
He had nuclear.
It doesn't matter. I would have killed him in the next hit. I started low rolling. Like I'm rolling 800, 800, 200, 150. Like, what are you doing?
I think with my quick math, I put him around 3,200, 3,500. So.
Yeah, so he couldn't have had too much left.
But that was impressive. Right. That was impressive seed. Luckily, we didn't see anything nasty from the Green Medusas. You know, our honorary mascot we made our way through.
Yeah, there was a little trepidation as I encountered them for the first time because I hadn't seen any Death or Stone Touch at that point yet, so who knows?
But I think the note of the seed that I say is, how did you guys feel with no evasion available to you and no light?
Felt fine. Like, it can be dangerous, but with these flags, you don't expect a boss that's going to be real too much trouble. Sucked that my thief went down immediately to Kraken Honda, but beyond that, I lost. So.
Yeah, not having evasion was a bit of a problem for me on carry 2. I died to, well, the knight died, which was enough since we didn't have life charges, so I lost a bit of time there, but again, just keep pushing through, I guess.
Indeed. I mean, that seed felt fairly linear for the most part from my end. I don't know about you, Edgeworth. We didn't really see any big gambles outside of just the one that Elastoid made.
Yeah.
Which gamble was that?
To dive out of ice early.
It wasn't a gamble. I didn't have any spell charges left.
So
that was a mistake. Gamble. The gamble was I forgot to go to an inn.
So what made you go back afterwards?
I knew that like I didn't have a weapon yet, so, and I still figured there was 2 loose items. My options were to go to Ice Cave or to go to Sea Shrine. At which point I'm gonna try to brack Kraken and hope, I guess, that in the few chests on the way to Kraken I find both loose items. Because otherwise, I'm going to wind up diving mermaids, and then I'm looking at taking some long dungeons like Earth Cave or Sky Palace. And I don't really want to... much faster to go through Ice Cave and just grab those chests quickly. You know, so I was definitely going to do that. find anything. Sucked.
Yeah, not having a weapon was a bit of a problem. I think I ended up with like 145 chest open, which is way, way over what I would normally do. But I didn't really feel like with just a Sun Sword and a Power Gauntlet that I was going to be able to kill Chaos, even with fast and temper charges out the wazoo.
Didn't find
I
the
needed
Sun
a
Sword.
little
I only found a Scalber. Scalber was in the warp chest in Earth
Yeah,
Cave.
yeah, that's the one I ended up getting. And after I got Excalibur, I was just done.
Okay, question from chat really quick. Zardia, to Elastoid, were you determined to bring Warmech down? And after Elastoid answers, I'd love to hear your answer on that one, Tristal.
I was determined to bring Warmech down. I mean, I had an ambush on him, so if I wanted to, I could have run. But I was a little bit behind in XP, so on my way up to Tiamat, I'm sure chat was blessing RNG. I was also quietly blessing RNG and hoping to run into a Warmech. And it turned out he was made out of paper, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I always like encountering Warmech, not just because the experience reward is just completely ridiculous, but it also gives you a little bit of insight into how tough TOFR is going to be. If Warmech throws a nuclear at you, maybe you don't have to worry about it quite as much. So, yeah, getting that experience there was pretty nice, especially since I wanted to level up my Thief enough so that he'd be able to cast Temper and Fast. And that's exactly what ended up happening, so that was good.
Alright, so another question about this particular flag set this week. We have the Thief as our captain this week. Is the Thief a great captain? Greatest captain from RD Platypus? Or only captain from Will Blood?
Will Bloodworth is right about everything, so if he says it's the only captain, then I guess he's right.
Yeah,
I don't know
honestly,
anyone who's argued with Will Bloodworth and been right.
totally. Yeah, for me personally, Thief Required White Mage Band is almost perfect for my playstyle, because this is kind of my ideal party to begin with. So,
Thanks so much for putting me up against Tristal with that.
Yeah, thanks, random.org.
Alright, well, you know my opinion, Buff Thief 2019, but... Okay, final thoughts from Elastoid tonight.
My final thoughts are always remember to go to the inn. In spell charges to cast warp. To cast warp with no spell charges, and if you're planning on warping out of a dungeon,
If you're planning on warping out of a dungeon, Elastoid?
if you're planning on warping out of a dungeon, you need the warp charges.
Okay. And from our winner tonight, TristalMTG. Final thoughts.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to round 5. That's gonna determine a lot of people's fates. I predict Elastoid will make the play-in race and make the playoffs through it. I did some paper napkin math, and it looked like 5 or 6 people from the play-in race were going to advance to the playoffs. So there's quite a few people that are definitely still in this. So thanks to everybody who helped track and commentate and restream and put all this together, because this has been a lot of fun.
Your conscience is clear? You don't feel like you knocked me out?
No, because you're going to win the next 2 races you play, so you're fine.
I think Crystal's conscience would be clear even if he did knock you out.
Okay, to my co-commentator tonight, former champion Edgeworth. Any shout-outs you'd like to give?
Just thanks to Super Luigi and Wout for doing the tracking. Super Luigi's first time doing it and did a great job, so definitely appreciate that. Also, thanks to Speed Gaming for hosting us, and don't forget to throw the runners a follow if you like what you saw. They're going to be doing a lot more of this in the next few weeks.
Well, once again, I gotta give a big shout out to the Speed Gaming family of networks for hosting us up tonight. We have a race starting in just a few minutes on, I believe that is Randomizer 5. Give a quick shout out to our crew tonight. Everyone who's doing the tracking, Super Luigi, Woke for kind of guiding him on his way through the first time. Edge Stream, give him a follow. Looking at a former champion there, we had 2 veteran runners tonight for Elastoid and TristalMTG. They are the highlight. They're the people you want to see. Hopefully you see them both in the play-out race and in the final bracket. And I just want to say, if you're interested in all, please jump in. At the end of the day, it's a game. We're supposed to have fun with it. Please jump into our Discord. Please jump in, try it out on FinalFantasyRandomizer.com. And come and join us, because it is a great community to play these seeds with. We have an entire duckling incentive if you're just wanting to get your feet wet. We have a great way for you to get involved. And for Kiyu Kitsuki and everyone from the Final Fantasy community, may the light of the 4 orbs guide us all.